when four wealthy teenagers filmed themselves tormenting a deaf 8-year-old girl for viral fame. They had no idea the video would reach a grieving war veteran 150 kilometers away, a man who had just lost his own deaf daughter and commanded a brotherhood of 80 bikers across 5 states. What happened next would transform their lives of privilege into a permanent nightmare and prove that some children have protectors more fierce than any parent's money or influence could ever shield them from. The fluorescent lights of Mickey's Burger flickered against the darkening sky of Riverside Falls as 8-year-old Lily Martinez stepped outside to throw away the trash. Her mother, Grace, was inside finishing her night shift as a cleaner, scrubbing tables and mopping floors to make ends meet as a single parent. It was 10:15 p.m., and the parking lot was mostly empty, except for a group of 4 teenage boys loitering near their expensive pickup truck. Brandon Mitchell, 17 years old and son of the town's wealthiest car dealership owner, noticed the small girl immediately. His eyes lit up with malicious opportunity as he elbowed his best friend Tyler Hoffman, the sheriff's son. "Yo, check this out," Brandon whispered, pulling out his iPhone 14 Pro. "Isn't it the deaf kid from the special need class?" Tyler's face twisted into a cruel smile. "Dude, this is perfect content. Start recording." What followed was 15 minutes of calculated torment that would change multiple lives forever. Brandon approached Lily with his phone camera rolling, getting close to her tear-stained face as she tried desperately to communicate through sign language that she wanted to be left alone. "Look at her crying like a baby," Brandon laughed, his voice dripping with mockery as he recorded every tear rolling down Lily's brown cheeks. "Hey, deaf princess, where's your mommy?" The other 3 boys, Kevin Walsh and Jamie Santos, circled around the little girl like predators surrounding wounded prey. Lily backed up against a dumpster, her small hands frantically signing, "Please stop," but her silent pleas only fueled their entertainment. "She can't even hear us making fun of her," Tyler cackled, pushing her shoulder lightly. "She's like a broken robot or something. What's with all the weird hand movements?" Kevin mocked, grotesquely imitating her sign language with exaggerated, offensive gestures. "Looks like she's having some kind of seizure." Lily's eyes searched desperately for help, for her mother, for anyone who might intervene. But Riverside Falls was a small town where everyone knew everyone else. And more importantly, everyone knew which families held power. The Mitchell family owned the largest automotive dealership in the region. Tyler's father was Sheriff Marcus Hoffman. Kevin's family controlled Riverside National Bank, and Jamie's family dominated the real estate market. These boys had grown up knowing they were untouchable. Brandon moved closer, his phone inches from Lily's face. "Let's see if the broken robot can even scream," he taunted, suddenly clapping his hands loudly near her ear. When Lily flinched but couldn't hear the sound, all 4 boys erupted in laughter. The video captured every moment of humiliation. Lily's desperate attempts to escape, her tears, her fear, and the boys' cruel celebration of their power over someone vulnerable. After 20 minutes of torment, they finally left, high-fiving each other as they climbed into Brandon's truck. "Man, that was hilarious," Tyler said, already reviewing the footage. "This is definitely going on TikTok." Inside Mickey's Burger, Grace finished wiping down the last table, completely unaware that her daughter had just experienced a trauma that was about to go viral. When she stepped outside and found Lily sitting against a building, rocking back and forth, a self-soothing behavior she only did when extremely distressed, Grace's heart shattered. "Sweetheart, what happened?" Grace asked in sign language, kneeling beside her daughter. But Lily couldn't explain. She was too traumatized, too overwhelmed. Grace gathered her daughter in her arms and carried her to their old Honda Civic, promising herself she would get to the bottom of this. Meanwhile, Brandon was already home in his luxury bedroom, editing the video with trendy music and adding captions. At 11:47 p.m., he posted it to TikTok with a caption, "We found a broken robot faced with tears under a #deaffail, #Riverside Falls, #viral." Within the first hour, the video had 15,000 views. By 2 a.m., it had reached 50,000. By dawn, it had exploded to 300,000 views with thousands of comments, most of them celebrating the hilarious prank and adding their own cruel jokes about Lily. But at 3:22 a.m., the video reached someone who would change everything. 150 kilometers away in Cleveland, Jake "Tank" Morrison sat in his small apartment above the auto repair shop where he worked. The 45-year-old veteran had just finished a double shift, his hands still stained with engine grease. He scrolled through his phone, checking the Iron Brotherhood chat. A group of 80-plus veteran motorcyclists spread across 5 states who would become his only real family after the war. A message from his friend Diesel caught his attention. "Brothers, has anyone seen this? This can't go unnoticed." Below was a link to Brandon's TikTok video. Jake clicked on it without thinking much. He'd seen a lot of terrible things on the internet. But when the video started playing, something inside him fractured. The little girl's face. Those eyes. That expression of fear mixed with helpless resignation. The way she tried to sign for help while tears streamed down her face. The way the boys laughed at her vulnerability. Jake's hands began trembling violently. his vision blurred. The girl in the video looked almost identical to his daughter Emma. Same age, same condition, same expression of pure fear. Emma had been deaf since birth, and Jake had learned sign language to communicate with her. She had been the light of his life, his reason for coming home from deployment, his motivation to be better. 3 years ago, Emma died in a car accident. Jake's ex-wife had been driving when a drunk driver ran a red light. Jake blamed himself because he called his ex-wife seconds before the crash, distracting her with an argument about child support. If he hadn't made that call, if he hadn't been so petty, maybe Emma would still be alive. For 3 years, Jake carried that guilt like a physical weight, drinking himself into oblivion most nights. The only thing that saved him from complete destruction was the Iron Brotherhood, fellow veterans who understood trauma, loss, and the need for purpose after war. Now, watching this video, seeing Lily being tortured the way Emma might have been, Jake felt something shift inside him. This was his chance for redemption. This was how he could honor Emma's memory. He dropped his phone and ran to the bathroom, where he vomited violently from the emotional overload. When he emerged, his face was set with determination. With shaking hands, he typed a message in the Iron Brotherhood group chat. "Brothers, I need you. It's about a child. It's personal. This is about protecting someone who can't protect herself. Emma would want us to do something." The responses came immediately. "Say the word, Tank. Cleveland chapter is ready. Detroit riders checking in. How many do you need? Pittsburgh Steel standing by, brother. Tennessee Veterans MC, whatever you need." Jake stared at Emma's photo on his wall, her bright smile, her hands forming the sign for "I love you." He made her a silent promise. "I can protect you, baby girl, but I can protect this child. I won't let them get away with this." What Brandon Mitchell and his friends didn't know was that their viral prank had just attracted the attention of the wrong person. They had no idea that 80 combat veterans were about to make them understand the true meaning of consequences. The storm was gathering, and it was heading straight for Riverside Falls. By 6 a.m. the next morning, Brandon's video had reached 500,000 views. He woke up to hundreds of notifications, his phone buzzing nonstop with comments, shares, and new followers. To him, this was success. He was viral. He was famous. "Dude, I'm practically an influencer now," Brandon texted Tyler, attaching a screenshot of his growing follower count. "We should do more content like this." Tyler replied with a skull emoji, and "That deaf girl was a gold mine. Maybe we should find her again. LOL." What they didn't know was that every text message, every comment, every laugh was being monitored. In Cleveland, Jake hadn't slept. He sat at a makeshift command center in the Iron Brotherhood clubhouse, a converted warehouse where the veterans gathered. Spread across a pool table were maps, printouts of the viral video, and his laptop showing multiple browser tabs. "Tank, I got the information you wanted," said Rebecca Raven Foster, walking in with a thick folder. Rebecca was a former military police investigator who now worked as a private detective. She was one of the few women in the Iron Brotherhood, and arguably the most dangerous person in the room. She slid the folder across the table. "Brandon Mitchell, 17 years old. Father is Robert Mitchell, owner of Mitchell Motors, largest car dealership in the tri-state region. Estimated net worth $8 million. And here's the interesting part. Brandon has a history of violent behavior that daddy's money has been covering up since he was 12. Jake opened the folder, his jaw clenching as he read through the documented incidents. A mentally disabled girl humiliated at school last year, swept under the rug with a donation to the school. A Mexican student whose lunch was thrown in the trash repeatedly, resolved when Mitchell Motors sponsored the school football team. A gay classmate locked in the bathroom for 3 hours, made to go away, with a generous settlement and non-disclosure agreement. "This kid is a serial bully," Jake muttered, "and his father has been enabling him for years." "It gets worse," Raven continued, pulling out more documents. "Tyler Hoffman, the sheriff's son, his dad, Marcus Hoffman, is currently under internal investigation for excessive use of force. 3 cases of police brutality in the last 18 months, all mysteriously shelved. Like father, like son, apparently. Diesel, Jake's second in command, study the photos. What about the other 2 kids in the video? Kevin Walsh, father is president of Riverside National Bank. And Jamie Santos, whose family owns Santos Real Estate, the largest property company in the county, specializing in buying up low-income properties and converting them into luxury developments." Jake leaned back, the full picture becoming clear. "So these 4 kids represent the 4 most powerful families in Riverside Falls. They're literally untouchable in that town." "We're untouchable," Raven corrected with a cold smile. "They just made the mistake of documenting their crime and posting it publicly. And they made an even bigger mistake. They picked on a child who now has 80 military uncles." Jake's phone buzzed with incoming messages from veteran groups across 5 states. Iron Brotherhood Cleveland, 12 riders confirmed Detroit Veterans MC, 8 bikers ready Pittsburgh Steel, 15 men standing by Tennessee riders. 10 confirmed Chicago chapter. 8 ready to roll. Tank, we're looking at over 50 confirmed, Diesel said, tallying the numbers. That's the biggest mobilization we've had since the Westboro church protests. But Jake shook his head. This isn't about showing force. It's about teaching a lesson. Raven, I need you to do something for me. Name it. Hack their phones. All 4 of them. I want to know every text, every post, every location. If they're planning anything else against Lily or her mother, I want to know immediately. Raven smiled. Already done. I breached their devices 2 hours ago. Brandon's phone is an open book, and honestly, what I'm reading makes me sick. These kids have entire group chats dedicated to finding vulnerable people to torment for content. She pulled up her laptop, showing screenshots of group chats with names like Prank Squad and Viral Kings, where the 4 boys shared ideas for humiliating people, specifically targeting those who couldn't fight back, disabled students, poor kids, minorities. They've been doing this for years, Raven said quietly. Lily is just the latest victim, but she's the first one who's been connected to someone like you. Jake stood up, walking to the wall where photos of fallen veterans hung. In the center was a photo of his daughter Emma, her smile bright and beautiful, her hands signing, I love you. Emma will be 9 now, Jake said softly. Same age as Lily will be in a few months. Emma used to tell me she wanted to help other deaf kids when she grew up. She wanted to make sure no one felt alone or different. He turned back to his brothers. We're going to honor that dream. We're going to show Lily that she has a family she never knew existed. Meanwhile, in Riverside Falls, Grace Morrison's day was going from bad to worse. She had discovered the viral video at midnight when a co-worker sent her the link with a sympathetic message. Watching her daughter being humiliated, hearing those cruel laughs, seeing Lily's desperate signs for help, Grace had vomited from the emotional impact. At 7:30 a.m., her phone rang. It was Principal Thompson from Lily's school. Grace, we need to discuss Lily's situation, the principal said awkwardly. Some parents have expressed concern about the viral video. They think it might be disruptive for school environment if Lily continues attending right now. Grace felt her blood boil. You want to punish my daughter for being victimized? It's not punishment, Grace. It's just, maybe it would be best for everyone if Lily stayed home for a few days until this blows over. Blows over? Grace almost shouted. My 8-year-old daughter was tortured by 4 teenagers who filmed it for entertainment, and you want her to hide? I understand you're upset, but the Mitchell family is a major donor to our school, and... Grace hung up. The message was clear. Power protected power in Riverside Falls. The victims were expected to disappear, while the bullies faced no consequences. By noon, Brandon had posted a follow-up video, a mock apology that was clearly sarcastic, where he and his friends laughed about the sensitive people who couldn't take a joke. The video got another 200,000 views. But Brandon made one crucial mistake in that video. In the background, visible for just 3 seconds, was a piece of mail with an address clearly showing Grace and Lily's home location. Within minutes, dozens of comments were sharing the address. Someone should visit the deaf girl's house. One comment read, "Give her something real to cry about," said another. Tyler replied to one of the comments, "Don't give me ideas, smiling face with horns." In Cleveland, Rebecca's laptop pinged with an alert. "Tank, we have a problem," she said urgently. They just doxed Grace's address. And based on these text messages I'm monitoring, Brandon and Tyler are planning to go to Lily's house tonight to film more content. Jake felt a cold rage settle over him. These boys weren't going to stop. They thought they were invincible. They thought the world was their playground, and vulnerable people were just props for their viral fame. How fast can we get people to Riverside Falls? Jake asked. Diesel checked his phone. Detroit is 2 hours out. Cleveland, 3 hours. I can get 12 men there by 8 p.m. tonight. Jake typed rapidly in the group chat. Code red. Child in imminent danger. Need all available riders to Riverside Falls by 8 p.m. This is not a drill. We're protecting a little girl from predators. The responses flooded in. Rolling out now, Tank. Detroit chapter en route. Pittsburgh bringing 15. We ride for the innocent. Jake made one more call to an old friend from his military days, Captain Thomas Thunder Richardson, now working in the state police department. Tom, I need a favor. Not as a veteran, but as a father. After Jake explained the situation, the viral video, the doxing, the planned harassment, there was a long pause. Jake, if what you're telling me is true, these kids have crossed several legal lines. Give me 2 hours. If I can't get official approval, I'll be patrolling that neighborhood tonight on my own time. And if I happen to witness harassment of a minor, well, that's my duty to intervene. It was exactly what Jake needed to hear. As the sun began to set on December 15th, 2 forces were converging on Riverside Falls. For wealthy, arrogant teenagers who believed they were above consequences, and 50 combat veterans who were about to teach them otherwise. The reckoning was coming. At 8:15 p.m., Brandon pulled his father's $80,000 truck up 2 blocks from Grace's modest duplex apartment. The night was cold, but the 4 boys were fired up with adrenaline and arrogance. "Yo, chat, we're here," Brandon announced his phone, starting another live stream. "We're outside the famous deaf girl's house. Let's give her a little surprise visit." Tyler adjusted his phone's camera settings. "Dude, imagine her face when we ring the doorbell and she can't even hear it. This is going to be epic content." 847 people were watching the live stream, many encouraging them in the comments. "Do it. Make her cry again. This is going to be hilarious." What Brandon didn't know was that at 3 strategic positions around the street, 12 military veterans were watching through tactical binoculars. Jake Morrison sat in a black van with Rebecca, monitoring police communications and recording every word from Brandon's live stream. "Tank, they're approaching the house," Diesel whispered over the radio. "Permission to intervene?" "Wait," Jake commanded, his voice cold and controlled. "Let them incriminate themselves further. Thunder is in position 2 blocks away with 3 state police cars. We do this by the book." Brandon and Tyler walked confidently to Grace's door, holding their phones like weapons. Brandon rang the doorbell repeatedly, then started pounding on the door aggressively. Inside, Grace held Lily tight on the couch, both of them terrified by the violent knocking. Grace grabbed her phone to call 911 when she saw Brandon's live stream automatically pop up on her social media feed. She was watching her own harassment in real time, along with 1,200 other viewers. "Yo, I think the deaf girl's mom is hiding." Brandon laughed into the camera. "Come on out. We just want to talk." It was at that exact moment that 12 motorcycles roared down the street in perfect formation, their headlights blazing like cavalry arriving at a battlefield. The synchronized sound of their engines was deafening, deliberate, and absolutely terrifying. Jake Morrison dismounted first, followed by 11 veterans in leather vests displaying combat patches, Purple Hearts, and the Iron Brotherhood insignia. They moved with military precision, surrounding Brandon and his friends in a semicircle. Brandon tried to maintain his bravado, turning his phone toward the bikers. "Oh, look, guys, some old dudes on motorcycles. How scary." Jake walked forward slowly, his 6 feet 3 inches frame and 230 pounds of muscle radiating controlled danger. He stopped 3 feet from Brandon. "Brandon Michael Mitchell," Jake said calmly, his voice cutting through the night like a blade. "Born April 15th, 2007, son of Robert Mitchell, owner of Mitchell Motors. Student at Riverside Falls High School. Lives at 247 Maple Street in the gated community of Riverside Estates." Brandon's face went pale. "How do you know?" "Tyler James Hoffman," Jake continued, turning to Tyler, son of Sheriff Marcus Hoffman, 16 years old. "Kevin Walsh, Jamie Santos. Banking and real estate families. Very powerful, very connected." The boys were now visibly shaking. "You thought you were tormenting a helpless child with no protection," Jake said, his voice dropping to a deadly whisper. "You were wrong." Rebecca emerged from a van with a laptop, connecting it to a Bluetooth speaker. Suddenly, Brandon's own voice echoed down the entire street. "Man, I went viral with that deaf girl. The comments are hilarious." Someone wrote, "Poor broken robot." Neighbors began opening their doors, drawn by the commotion. Phone cameras started recording. Brandon's live stream, which he had forgotten to turn off, was now broadcasting his own humiliation to 2,000 shocked viewers. No, no," Brandon stammered, tried to turn off his phone with trembling hands. "That audio, how did you—" "Your phone was hacked 6 hours ago," Rebecca said coldly. "Every text message, every location, every plan to harass this family, all documented and sent to the FBI, state police, and national media outlets." At that moment, sirens pierced the night. 3 state police cars surrounded the area, led by Captain Richardson, Brandon Mitchell, Tyler Hoffman. Thunder announced, stepping forward with handcuffs and official arrest warrants. "You're under arrest for cyberbullying, stalking, criminal trespass, harassment of minor, and conspiracy to commit assault. My dad will destroy you," Tyler shouted desperately. "You don't know who you're messing with." Jake stepped closer, his face inches from Tyler's. "Your father is Sheriff Marcus Hoffman, currently under investigation by the FBI for police brutality and corruption. Funny coincidence. Someone just leaked very incriminating evidence about evidence tampering in his department. His career is over." He turned to Brandon. "And your father, Brandon, Robert Mitchell. Mitchell Motors just lost every single contract with major manufacturers. Seems like corporations don't like being associated with people who torture disabled children for viral content. The dealership will be bankrupt within 60 days. Kevin and Jamie tried to back away, but veterans blocked their path. "Kevin, your father's bank is now under federal investigation for discriminatory lending practices," Diesel said, showing official documents. Jamie, Sandos Real Estate, is being audited for housing discrimination. Interesting how everything falls apart at once, isn't it? Brandon collapsed to his knees, crying openly. Tyler vomited on the sidewalk from shock. Their perfect, privileged world was disintegrating in real time, broadcast to thousands of viewers who were now celebrating their downfall. Jake knelt down to Brandon's level. Son, you filmed an 8-year-old child crying get likes on TikTok. You posted her home address online. You came here tonight to terrorize her further. This isn't a prank. This is calculated cruelty. And now you're going to learn what consequences feel like. As police loaded the 4 boys into separate cars, Jake walked to Grace's front door. She opened it carefully, holding Lily close. Ma'am, my name is Jake Morrison. I'm a veteran, and I lost my daughter 3 years ago. She was deaf, just like Lily. When I saw what those boys did to your daughter, I couldn't stand by. I had to do something. Grace's eyes filled with tears. You did this? All of this? We did this, Jake corrected, gesturing to his brothers. Lily has 80 uncles now, spread across 5 states. And we promise you, no one will ever hurt her like this again. Lily stepped forward, looking up at Jake. She slowly signed, "Thank you for protecting me." Jake signed back, "You're family now, and we protect family." 6 months later, the transformations were complete and irreversible. Brandon Mitchell now worked at a fast food restaurant in a town 3 hours away, having been rejected from every college he applied to. Mitchell Motors went bankrupt, and his father now sold used cars for someone else's dealership. Tyler Hoffman's father was serving time for corruption. Tyler himself was in mandatory therapy, repeating his junior year at a new school where no one knew his past. Kevin and Jamie's families moved to different states, carrying the permanent stain of their children's actions. Meanwhile, Lily Martinez thrived. At age 9, she had become fluent in 3 sign languages and was accepted into a gifted program for deaf children. The Iron Brotherhood had established the Emma Morrison Scholarship Fund, which had already helped 200 disabled children across 5 states. Grace had earned her degree in psychology and now worked as a trauma counselor, using her experience to help other families facing similar challenges. Every Saturday, Jake took Lily on rides on a specially adapted motorcycle, where she smiled with pure joy, something Brandon would never experience again. Uncle Jake. Lily signed during one of their Saturday adventures. "Thank you for showing me that being different is my superpower." Jake smiled, remembering his daughter Emma's words. "Daddy, when I grow up, I want to help children like me." Through Lily, Emma's dream lived on. The viral video that was meant to destroy a little girl had instead revealed the true power of brotherhood, the real meaning of justice, an eternal truth that when you harm the innocent, sometimes the universe conspires with warriors who know how to protect them. Brandon wanted fame by filming vulnerability. Instead, he became infamous for cruelty. Lily became a symbol of resilience, while Brandon became a cautionary tale. True justice wasn't destroying Brandon. It was showing Lily she was never alone. And in the end, that made all the difference.